The high school bullies who tormented me didn't know I was a brown belt until it was too late for them. My best friend Ian and I were eating lunch when two massive seniors decided we were sitting in their spot. The bigger one, Craig, dumped my tray over my head while his friend Jeremy laughed, saying freshmen weren't allowed in the senior section, even though there wasn't a senior section and everyone knew it. Ian tried to say we'd move, but Craig snapped his glasses in half and dropped them in his chocolate milk, asking if he could see better now. My fists were shaking under the table, but I forced them open because Sensei always said karate was only for protection, never for being pissed off. Jeremy saw my anime backpack and told the whole cafeteria we were those weird kids who run with our arms behind our backs, which we never did, but now half the cafeteria had their phones out. Craig took Ian's inhaler and pumped it empty while Ian wheezed that he actually needed it to breathe, and they just laughed harder when they told us to show our sick anime fighting skills, and we said no. Jeremy swept Ian's legs and he crashed face first, his elbow bleeding everywhere on the nasty cafeteria floor. I helped Ian up while Craig went through our phones reading our texts about Robotics Club out loud like it was the funniest thing ever. He found a photo of Ian's little sister and said she was hot and maybe he'd find her after school, and Ian actually tried to grab his phone, but Jeremy shoved him into the wall so hard a picture frame shattered. Craig made us pick up every piece of glass with our bare hands while everyone watched, and Ian whispered, "Dude, why won't you do something? I know, you can." But I just shook my head because once I started, I didn't know if I could stop. Next day, they were waiting with zip ties and attached our backpacks backwards so we looked like idiots walking to class. Jeremy filmed it saying, "This is what happens to kids who think life is like anime where we kids suddenly get powerful, except in real life we kids just get destroyed." When teachers asked what happened, Craig stood right behind us so we knew we had to say it was just a joke or whatever, and Mrs. Johnson definitely saw Craig's hand on my shoulder, but turned away like she didn't. Craig said tomorrow they'd give us swirlies in every bathroom in school, and Jeremy said his college brother wanted to meet us, and he hazed actual adults, so imagine what he'd do to freshmen. Ian grabbed me in the locker room practically crying and said, "Please just fight back once, you know you could end this." But I told him fighting back when I was trained would land me in serious trouble. After school, Craig grabbed my arm saying I had spaghetti muscles, and asked if I'd ever even thrown a punch, which was insane. Jeremy said they'd sign us up for the talent show to dance to K-pop and cat ears, and if we didn't, they'd break Ian's wrist so he couldn't game anymore. Every part of me wanted to drop them, and Ian kept looking at me like, please do something. I was dying inside watching him suffer because of my stupid principles. Craig took Ian's lunch money and bought himself pizza with it. When Ian's stomach growled, Jeremy punched him in the gut, and Ian dropped to his knees, gasping. I had to lock every muscle in my body to stop myself from showing them what a perfectly executed roundhouse looked like. They said tomorrow they'd duct tape us to the flagpole during morning announcements, which would basically ruin our entire high school life forever, and Craig added they'd strip us to our underwear first. Then Jeremy grabbed Ian's sketchbook from his backpack and started tearing out pages of drawings he'd worked on for months, these incredible detailed mechs and characters he'd created for the comic we were making together. He held each one up before ripping it in half while Ian begged him to stop, actually begged, and Craig just laughed, saying maybe now Ian would have time to learn how to draw something that didn't suck. They made Ian eat one of the torn pieces while I stood there hating myself for not defending my best friend. We tried to leave through the side exit, but their whole football crew was there, and Craig said they'd bet on which of us would cry first. Jeremy slapped Ian's face so hard it left a handprint, then did it again when he didn't cry, and Ian was trying to cover his face, but Jeremy pinned his arms behind his back while blood dripped from his nose. Craig pulled back his fist, saying, "This is what happens when you exist in our school without permission," aiming right at Ian's already swollen eye, and Ian was sobbing, going, "Please help me," with snot and blood running down his face. That was it. Watching Craig's fist heading for Ian's already bloody face, my body moved on its own. 7 years of training taking over. Every tournament and sparring session flooding back as my weight shifted perfectly, and Craig had absolutely no idea he was about 2 seconds away from finding out what happens when you force a brown belt to fight. Full story on the channel below.